Welcome back to our discussion on the fifth chapter. We're continuing our discussion on this fifth chapter of MLA Handbook ninth edition, the list of works cited. We've already finished off our discussion up to 5.8. The subchapters 5.8, that is how to style the author's name with one author, two authors, and three or more authors. Now we have to have a look at chapter number 5.9, where we have the discussion on names not reversed. Let us go to the chapter. Names not reversed. So, here immediately after that we have another subchapter, that's languages that order surname first. So, where we should not, in which case or which cases, we should not reverse the name. Already we have the practice of reversing the name. If a name contains two parts, we have the normal method of reversing the names. But here we come across another possibility, another method, or another requirement where names are not reversed, or we should not reverse the name as such. So, languages that order surname first. In such cases, and in some languages such as Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, the surname may be listed before the given name on the title page. In that case, do not reverse the name in the works cited list, because already in the title, in the main page, you are given the name where it is the surname is given. Surname, name, that surname may be listed before the given name. So in that case, if it is Shenfu in the works cited list entry, it's we have to write it as Shenfu itself. So already it is the reversed form. Say, take for example, simple example, if it is William Shakespeare, we have to make it Shakespeare, comma William. So in that case, SW, William Shakespeare is the order, and we make it SW, Shakespeare, comma William. So it's already, and again, if you make it, if you compare with these names, it's already in the given format. It's the format that we have to follow in the MLA style, so that you should not reverse that name while making the works cited list entry. Okay, so this is the way a particular text marks down or gives the name of the writer, or already it is in the order which we have to follow as per the MLA style. So Shenfu, it's you can write it in that way itself. You don't have to reverse it as we do usually with the other names from other languages like English and all. Okay. Now, next we have to note down the cases where uh, the lack of a surname occurs. Well, the name of an author who lacks a surname. In that case, what should we do? Some names of not nobility and pre-modern names. We will take some examples from the text itself, or some pseudonyms, including stage names or online usernames that do not take the form of a name traditionally reversed. So in that case, if it is not a name that is traditionally, that follows the traditionality, traditional style, we have to take it into account. Where we do not go with the reversing process. So think, for example, Elizabeth first. It's pre-modern name, and again, you don't have to make that first in the beginning, and then Elizabeth. Then another example, some of the stage names or online usernames, like film critic Hulk. You should not reverse it. It may be an online name, a name that a particular person, an anonymous author or someone else uses on the online publication sites, platforms. You should not reverse it. Then Geoffrey of Monmouth. You don't should not reverse it like Monmouth or Geoffrey of nothing as such, because it's not the way, we don't have the provision to reverse it as such. Then Lady Ganga. So that's not a traditional name, but sometimes a pseudonym. And again, name of an organization, some of the groups and names of organization. You as this name, this particular name or title, that United Nations, that contains two parts. You should not reverse it like nations comma united, as we do with a normal traditional name structure, name format, like William Shakespeare, Shakespeare comma William. So that okay, anyway, it also contains, United Nations also contains two parts. That particular combination contains two words. So why can't we reverse it? It's easy, and it's at the first sight we may see, we may feel like reversing, but we should not do it because it's a rule in MLA formatting. You should not follow it in that way, but United Nations should be written as United Nations itself. So that's the way. It's a name of an organization. So groups, organizations, we should not reverse such names. So, and again, sometimes with pseudonyms, we have to take it into account. Pre-modern names, say for example, Elizabeth First. Nowadays we don't use it as the first, second, and all. But it is a pre-modern way of naming, so we should not, even though it contains more than one part, one word, we should not reverse it as we do with traditional names. See chapter number subchapter 5.12. It's variant forms of a personal name. Let us have a look at that. Personal name and its variant. So you should generally cite a work under the name recorded on the work itself. So very important point. You should generally cite a work because when you cite a particular work, you have that book in hand. You have that book with you, and whatever details we have to collect as part of creating the works cited list entry. You have all the details needed for you to make that, given either on the title page, or either on the cover page, or inside the the details, as all the details that we need are available on the book itself. So we should generally cite a work under the name recorded on the work itself, because this possibility, the another possibility, sometimes authors change their names during their careers, or various publishers spell an author's name differently. That also, so these possibilities we have to take it into account, because we should not rely upon any of other matters, any of such details, but whatever we avail on the very text, the particular text that we access, because we give all the details of the publishers, the year of publication. Even if the same publisher changes the name according to the change the particular writer author makes during his or her career, it doesn't matter, because we already marked down the date, year of publication, along with the okay, or with the works cited list entry and the publisher's details, so that we don't have to be worried even if they go for changing their name in the uh, in the course of their career. That's that's not our matter of concern. But if we don't record the name on the work itself that we access, the details of which we give as part of our work cited list entry, there we have to take the blame. So authors names differently, sometimes they have the freedom to do that, but a particular publication, it's already, if it is in print or any other format, that is already there, it's already done, a work that is already done and published, and it's for the reading public, so that it is given there, and it is the authentic one that we access, because we have that particular book as per that record, all the records are there in our custody. So works around may be needed for economy of citation, to provide useful information to the reader about authors or their canon of work, or to avoid a name an author no longer uses when known. So actually, for the economy of citation, we have to do justice to what we cite. And again, we have to avoid other unlikely confusion by quoting or by citing different types of different spellings, different formats of the names. From somewhere we may know that this particular writer uses such and such names, or such a another variant spelling, another spelling. But we should not take that. But we have to use the detail of that is given on the very particular text that we access itself, so that we are our part is safe and clear. It's already clear and perfect. So that's the way variant forms of a personal name, if occurring, can be that particular problem can be avoided. Okay. Now please have a look at chapter number 5.13, different spellings. How can we deal with different spellings? In the case of the same author, sometimes we have to deal with such confusions as well. The name of an author may be spelled in various ways. In works you consult, so sometimes we cannot avoid these variants or varieties. See, see for example, one edition of Enid may list the author as Virgil and another as Virgil, Virgil and Vergil. So which one is correct? Both may be correct. So in that case, the spelling of the names from sometimes from different languages that have different systems of capitalization, or sometimes using alphabet romanization. Say for example, Dostoevsky spelling, Dostoevsky and Dostoevsky. These two spellings. So which one we have to opt? So there is a solution for this. MLA handbook suggests a particular solution. Look at this. If the spelling or transliteration of an author's name varies, choose the variant preferred by your dictionary or another authoritative source. Sometimes some of the major authors' names may be there in the dictionary itself. Very rarely, but sometimes it's possible. Or any of the authoritative source. And list all the works by the author under the variant in your works cited list. Even if we have to consult two different editions of the same text, list all the works by the author under that variant in your works cited list. One variant. We should not opt between these two. We have to decide first by choosing or by consulting an authoritative source. It can even be your guide. So generally use the same form of the name in prose as you do in your works cited list. So why it's even before why it even it can be a person who can be reliable, who is well versed. It's as a suggestion you can take it, or it's really preferable that you depend upon, or you consult a dictionary, or some other authoritative authentic text itself, and list all the works by the author under that variant in your works cited list, and generally use the same form of the name in prose as you do in your works cited list. So in your works, by in your prose also, you should already decide which variant I shall opt or I shall be using, so that there is no confusion. If you decide using Virgil, it should be Virgil throughout for Virgil. And if you decide or opt to use, if you have already decided this the other one, Vergil as the spelling Virgil for Virgil, then you have to follow that throughout. So that will assure consistency. Not because the other variant is wrong, but we have to, its consistency is very good in the case of a research project, research writing. If not in the case of everything creative, but in the case of a research writing, the methodology, that means consistency itself, so that you can avoid maximum number of confusion. Otherwise it's always confusing, because in writing with the names, with the different other formatting techniques, we have a number of options. Because writing our pseudonyms, opting other names, especially with the names and all, we can always come across such confusions. And the better option is to rely upon, or to opt for consulting the best and authentic sources so that we can avoid maximum confusion. So, with that, I end up this video session and we will continue our discussion in the coming sessions. Thank you.